Okay, so now we have our new Barrie theme installed, and we are going to talk about how to customize it. So I'm just going to open the website on the front end in a new tab so you can look at it and you can see that all of the demo content was imported, and so it looks exactly like the demo website looks, but we need to make it your own. So let's head back to the back end. And the first thing we're going to do, this is a WordPress best practice. We're going to hover over settings and we'll go down to permalinks. And you don't actually need to choose a new permalink structure. You just need to scroll down and click save changes. And that's all you have to do. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to start making the site your own. And to do that, we're going to go to appearance and customize. Now, the customizer is where a lot of Kadence settings live. So you can edit all sorts of things in here, your colors and fonts, header, footer, the way the pages are laid out, your site identity. And the first thing we are going to do is talk about how to change our logo, our site title, tagline, and our favicon. All right, so over here, we're going to click into our header. And you can see that we have logo right here. And you can click on this to remove it, or you can change the logo, and that'll open up your media library. And you can go ahead and click on the Upload Files tab, upload your logo here, and then you would just select that logo. So here's my logo. We've got it selected already. We're going to skip the cropping, and it looks exactly the same because I uploaded the same one. I also have a logo max width set right here to 150 pixels. And one thing I do want to show you about Kadence is that you have the desktop, the tablet, and then the mobile little icons. And you'll see these appear in a lot of your options. And so if I wanted to, I could actually change the width of the logo on a tablet or on a mobile device. And you'll see on a mobile device, I have done that. So it's not 150 pixels, it's smaller at 100. So you can adjust yours accordingly. Now, as we scroll down here, you'll see the site title. So by default, it just says My WordPress. So maybe I'm going to change this to Barrie Theme because that is the site title, my blog or website, whatever it is, my brand. And you can also add a tagline here. So it's good to put something that your website is about. So I'm just going to put a feminine Kadence WordPress theme. I've typed that a lot, so it automatically appears. And then we can go down here to site icon, and this would be the favicon. So that's this little icon that appears in your tabs up here. And we'll click into there, and the recommended size is at least 512 pixels square. And we will go in and we will choose, I think I'm just going to choose this. That'll work. We'll crop that, and we'll push publish at the top to save our changes. Now I'm going to go to this tab and I'm just going to refresh. And voila, you see that I have my custom favicon up here. You'll see that it says Barrie Theme, which is my site title. And then I also have my tagline, Feminine Kadence WordPress Theme. And if I had changed my logo, it would appear differently right here. Okay, so we've just changed our logo, site title, tagline, and favicon. Now we're going to go back, and we are still in our customizer, and we're going to talk about editing the colors of your website. So we're in Appearance, Customize from the back end. I'm going to click into Colors and Fonts right here, and then into Colors. And I need to get my website so it's back on a desktop version so you can see all the features. The nice thing about Kadence is they give you the global color palette to work with, and so you can set the colors one time and then very easily use those colors across your whole website. So the only thing you have to do to start making these your brand colors is just click into one, and I'm going to click into this color right here, and I'm going to actually copy this before I get rid of it, because if you choose a new color here, you can't just undo it to get back to the old color. So if you like these colors, just copy and paste them somewhere real quickly so that you'll have them as a reference point in case you want to use them again. But I'm just going to cut that, and then I'm going to change this color to this magenta purple color, and you can see how that affects it across my whole entire website. So everywhere that I was using that charcoal color before, it's now this purple color. So it makes it really easy for you to go in and set your own brand colors, and you don't have to go page by page updating every little thing. So I'm just going to set this back to what I had it as before. And of course, when you're done, make sure you press publish at the top to save your changes. In addition to the global color palette, we also have the site background. So I have mine just set to white, but you can change that if you would like to, and you'll see how those global colors appear right here, so they're really easy to access if you want to use one of those. Content background, you can change the color of your text links right here. Of course, you don't have to change any of these if you're not comfortable with that. Again, the website is fully editable by you, so you can change everything about it, but of course it is designed so that you don't have to do all of that work yourself, and you can kind of just change your brand colors up here and be done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is talk about our buttons. So I was in colors before, I'm going back, and remember we're in appearance customize, and when you open that it looks like this. We're in colors and fonts, and now we're going into buttons. So you can see how I have my buttons set up. I'm scrolling right here to where I have a button so we can see how it works. I have the text color of the button set to this charcoal color, but then I made it a little bit see-through by dragging this down right here. So then the hover color of it is actually this color, but with 100% opacity. So when you hover, it's really subtle, but you can see how it goes from faded to darker. So you can change that to whatever you wanted to. If you wanted it to be maybe this blue color, there's how that would look. Doesn't look so good. We're gonna go back to black. And the background color of the button is this light pink, and when you hover over it, I have it also set to the light pink, but let's say we wanted it to become this darker peachy pink color, and that's how that would look. So go ahead and change your buttons to whatever you would like them to. You can, of course, play with even more settings. So if you wanted to add a border to your button, you could do that here. We could choose a black border and click this little X, and we'll choose the solid option, and we will make it 8 pixels. So you can see how that looks. We're going to get rid of a border color. I don't actually want one on here. You can also affect the border radius, so this would be how round your buttons are. So we can make it all the way square, or we can make it rounded like that. Or we just have a little bit of a border radius here. Here's where you can change the actual font of your buttons. So we have ours on pop-ins. These are all Google fonts in here, so you can change it to whatever is available or whatever fonts match your theme. You can go to the style, and you could make it italic and a heavier weight if you wanted to. I just have mine on regular. And then you can, of course, adjust the font size, the line height, and the letter spacing on your button. You can make it capital letters, all caps, or all lowercase. Okay, then we have the padding of our buttons, so you can adjust how much space is around the text of the button between the text and the edge. You can also add a button shadow, so there would be a little drop shadow there if you wanted to, and change it on the hover state, so when you hover over, maybe the shadow appears or disappears. So just feel free to play around with those. Again, you have this responsive screen size setting, so if you wanted to have a square button on a desktop, but you wanted your button to be round on a mobile device, you could do that. So the sky's the limit, and have fun playing with how you want your buttons to look, or just leave them the way that they are. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to edit our fonts. So we're going to go back one, and we're still in Appearance Customize, and we're going into Typography now. So the base font, basically all of the paragraph font, is Poppins, and if you wanted to change that, you just click in here and you can select any Google font that you want to use. You can of course adjust the font weight if you wanted it all to be italic, and so on and so forth, and then font size, line height, letter spacing, etc. For the heading fonts, I have Noto Serif Display selected, and then you can go in. So by default, every heading would go to this font, but if I wanted maybe one of my fonts, like I have H5 and H6, set to pop-ins, this is where I can kind of override that. So maybe I want to set each heading font to something different. That is highly unlikely, but you do you. So you would just go in here and select whatever font you want to use, and it looks the same as all of these other menus and options. So right here, the H6 is pop-ins. An example of where that's used is right there. That's an H6. Now, I can override every single font on the actual page, but by default, if it's not overridden on a page, it's going to go to these options. And you'll understand better what I'm talking about when we go and actually edit page content. All right, we have talked about how to edit our fonts. We're gonna go back one step. Again, we're in Appearance Customize menu. We're going back and we're going back again this time. And now we're gonna talk about how to edit our header or our main navigation. So this nav bar up here, we're just gonna go into header. And when we did that, you may have noticed that this little menu appears down here. So we actually have 3 rows that come with Kadence that we can use. So you can see how you can drag and drop little elements into here. I have the logo, then we have our primary navigation and a button. So logo, primary navigation, button. Let's say that I wanted to make a top row and I want to edit this and I want to make it kind of a darker color because I'm going to put a little announcement or discount code up here. You just click on this little gear icon and we can select some layout options. I'll make it full width, and then we'll go to the design tab and we'll choose a background color, and we'll pick this dark peachy color. And then for padding, we'll set that up. We'll just go ahead and do 15. Let me lock it. Oops. So you're not going to see any changes yet up here because we don't actually have any content in this row. So let's just go back and let's add something into here. Whoops, let's go back into header and let's click on this row. Let's click on general, sorry. And then here's the available items that I can put into this row. So let's just say we're going to put some social icons right here. Okay, and now when I paste that in there, you can see those settings that I edited earlier are showing up. So my background color, my padding, and all of that. And then maybe I don't like the way that this looks, so I need to click on the little gear icon of my social icons, and I can go to the design tab right here, and we can change things. So I can change it to outline. That got rid of the background color. I can change my icon size. You can use your brand colors. Yes, that would be the actual brand colors. So that's using Facebook blue, Twitter blue, Instagram is blue, but it's not really blue. Or I can override those colors. So I can make them be black by default, and maybe when you hover, they're gonna be this really light tan color, like that. Change the border radius if they had a background. Feel free to play around with these settings all that you want to. So, of course, you can do the same thing for the main menu here. I do want to just talk about this primary navigation little widget right here. So if we go in to edit this, we can actually select our menu, and you can see that for my primary navigation, which was the actual name of the widget I have in here is primary, I have the main menu selected. We only have the one. So I am going to go into the back end really quickly and show you where you can make further edits to this menu. You can do it right here and click Edit Menu, and then it's pretty obvious that you can just drag and drop these things. So if I right now hover over extras, landing pages nested under that, maybe I want it to be independent of that. So I'm going to put it up here, and you can see how that change occurred already. So I'm just going to go ahead and nest it back under extras where it was, and let's just hop over to the back end and show you where else you can edit menus. And this may be familiar to you. You just go over to Appearance and Menus, and look, there's my main menu right there. Here's the same thing where I can drag and drop and rearrange these things. I can add additional pages. There's all my pages that I have on the site active. You can add posts. You can add a custom link. So if you wanted to link to something off-site, you could just add that right here, put it on your menu. And now that we talked about how to edit our header, we are going to talk about how to edit our footer. So we're going to go back and back. And then we were in header, now we're going to footer. And again, this little thing popped up. I'm going to scroll down so we can actually see our footer. So you'll see one problem we have going on down here in the footer is that we need to hook up our social media, our Instagram account here. This is done through a plugin, so we'll talk about that in a minute, but for now you can kind of just ignore that. What I will point out is that that is this widget 4 right here. So widget 4, if I click on the gear icon, this is my little Instagram feed widget, and in order for it to display, we need to connect our own account. But if I wanted to, I could just get rid of that. So if I just exit out of that, I no longer have the Instagram feed in my footer. I'm going to put widget 4 back there where it was. Yet again, in widget 2 right here, we have our logo. This is just an image, so I can click on replace, and I can either upload my own or open my media library and choose something different. So that's how that would work. Here's a little undo button. That's pretty handy. I'm going to use that and set it back to how it was. And then of course we do have our copyright in this bottom row. Let's say I wanted my bottom row to be a different background color. So I'd click on this gear icon of the bottom row, and we would go, we're in general, we'll go to the design tab, and let's find the bottom row background color right here. Let's make it that dark peachy. So you can see how you can start really customizing this and making it your own. And before we leave our footer, I just want to show you about the social icons. So you can see we have the little social icon widget right here, and you may not use these social profiles. You may have different ones that you want to put. Let's just click on the gear icon, and here's the ones we have. We can click add social, and we can add something else. I can add an RSS feed. I can add my IMDb. I can add any of these from this list. They've got most of the things anyone would use, but you can also do little custom links right here. To customize this, we could actually go in and add our own icon. So we could upload our own image if we wanted to. We will upload something just so you can see how that looks. And then look, I have my own little icon there. So I'm just going to remove that, and we're just going to remove this item altogether. We'll remove these so you can see how to get rid of the ones you don't want. And then of course there's some different settings here of how to align them, how much space you want in between. Something really important is to scroll down to the very bottom and click on Set Social Links. This is a list of every little social icon that's available in Kadence for you, and you'll want to go ahead and put in your own Instagram URL in here, and YouTube, or whichever things that you want to use. And I will mention too, while we're here, this is different. The way that these social link widgets act in the header and footer is different from, like how the ones on the page are actually set up. So when we go back to the page, we'll talk about how you edit these ones in a different way. Okay, so now we have talked about how to edit our header and our footer. The next thing we're going to do is connect this social feed right here. So we are using the Smash Balloon plugin Instagram feed. And I'm just going to exit out of here, and I'm fine with not saving any of my changes that I've made. Now we're back in the back end of our WordPress site, and let's scroll down in the sidebar here and hover over Instagram feed, and we can go to settings. What I want to do here is I want to actually add a source, and it'll just take a second. And then basically you want to make sure that you're already logged into your Instagram account. I am logged in on my computer already, so you can select whatever you have, business or personal. You're going to click connect with Instagram, and we are going to allow, otherwise it won't work. And then it's going to do its thing. It's going to want us to confirm that this is actually our domain. Yes, it is my domain. And now you can see I have my source, Code+Confetti, right here. So we're going to click on Save Changes. Now I need to go into All Feeds, and we're going to add our new feed. And we are going to use this that's selected by default, the user timeline, and click Next. And I'm going to use Code+Confetti and click Next. And this is just asking me if I want to upload a custom profile picture because the Smash Balloon plugin does not pull your actual profile picture from Instagram. So I'm not going to do that right now, but if you want to, feel free. And then we're going to wait for it to load up here. I'm going to exit out of this. First, I'm going to click save. And now we're going to edit. Let's go to our front end really quickly because I want us to see what has happened so far. I'm going to refresh the page, and you can see that this is showing way more than we want to show. It has way too many rows for the footer, and I don't want to show this part either. So we just need to do a little customization to make it look like the demo really quickly. So in feed layout, I'm going to choose my number of posts, and it's going to be 6. And on mobile, we'll do the same, 6 posts. And for columns on desktop, I want to have 6 columns, so it just stretches all the way across. On tablet, we're going to set it to 3, and on mobile, I'm going to set it to 2. And we can just click on these little responsive icons here so we can see what it's going to look like on a tablet and then on a mobile device. So that's good. And now we're going to go back to customize, and let's go to header. And I'm going to toggle off enable so that it gets rid of that. And then we're going to go back again to customize, and I'm going to go to load more button. That's this button right here, and then the follow button. You can leave these active if you want, but I'm going to disable mine. So I'm disabling the load more. I've got to go back to follow, and I'm disabling the follow button. And that looks how I want it to look. So I'm going to click on save, and let's go to the front end and refresh our website. And now it looks a lot better. It looks like the actual demo now. Okay, so we have just been talking about how to edit our footer and social feed and different menus we just talked about. And now we're going to go over widgets. We touched on this a little bit already because you can see how in our footer we have all these little widgets. Now, just like our menus, we can go to the back end of our website. I'm going to go there again. I'm in a new tab this time. When I hover over appearance, I also have widgets. Cool. So these are built in by default, these widget areas. And in sidebar 1, this is actually what shows up in our blog. So let me go to the front end of the website, and when I click on the blog, and here it is, this little sidebar right here, this is actually being generated from sidebar 1, which is a widget area. And what that means is I can edit this content. So I just click in here, and it's pretty intuitive how to start editing the content. So when I click on this image, I can click on replace right here. I can either upload something or choose something new from my media library. I keep changing the same thing. Let's change it to something different. When I click on the text, this is an advanced text block. I can type in there, edit all of this stuff. These are social links. So this actually is a social icon block. And this is the one that works differently from the ones that we already looked at in our footer. So if I want to add one here, I actually need to click on this little plus button, and we'll just add this link right here. Now, you'll see how it's grayed out, and these ones are a color. That's because I have to click on it and actually put a URL. A hashtag is just like a placeholder so that something acts like a link, but it doesn't really go anywhere. But I would want to put my own URL link in here in order to make this update. So I'll show you on the front end. I can add that here, and I can press update, and then I can go over here to my blog page where this sidebar appears, and you'll see that that link doesn't appear. But when I go in here and I add, let's just put google.com for the heck of it, and then you can see it's no longer grayed out. Press update and go back to our front end and refresh. And now that link is showing up. Okay, so this is a popular post. This is a heading, and then this right here is actually a Kadence post widget. So not widget, but block rather. So let's talk about how to add additional blocks and kind of what blocks are. Blocks are basically building elements. So when I click right here on this little plus, it's going to say add block. And it's going to bring up just kind of like the most recently used blocks, but I can also browse all, okay? Everything you can see is segmented. So all of these blue ones, they're under Kadence block heading, and all the blue ones are Kadence blocks. These are free blocks because we are using the free Kadence theme, the free Kadence blocks plugin with our website. You can upgrade to Pro, and additional blocks would appear here. And then you'd also have some more capabilities with some of these blocks that are already here. But that, of course, costs money. So this is really good that we have all of these little different elements that we can build content on our website with. As I scroll down, these are just default WordPress like Gutenberg blocks. So we have just a plain paragraph, heading, list. Some of these are the same types of blocks that we have in Kadence. Like we have a heading block and we have an advanced text block, okay? With Kadence, there's more features. So let's just click on advanced text and we'll add one here. And you'll see that I can click here and I can change this to an H1 through H6, a paragraph, span, or a div if you want to do something super custom. Over here in my block settings, I have general, so that's more of how it's aligned or the max width, or I can turn this into a link and set some colors. Change the different tags up here again. And the style tab, I can change the colors some more. I'll change some things so we can actually see live time edits. They have some of these things are kind of updated. Kadence recently updated. So they have these default sizes, which are really handy. But if you want to set your own custom size, you just click on this little icon and I can make it 60 pixels, okay? And if I want to get rid and go back to the Kadence, just little default sizes, I just click out of that. There's also advanced typography settings. So right here, by default, you'll remember we set up our headings. So we had like Noto, serif, display by default is what all of these are going to be. But if I wanted to override those global settings, this is where I could do that. So I can choose Comic Sans, and now only this H2 is going to be affected. The rest of the H2s on my site are still going to be Noto, serif, display. Only this one is going to be special. And we'll just make it light and we'll change it to italic. We have border settings, we have text shadow settings, we have icon settings, so we could actually add an icon to this text. We'll put this one here, and vertical alignment center, that's good. We can change the size of the icon. We can make it, left or right. We can change the color of the icon. We can change the hover color of the icon. So now when I hover over it, it's pink. We can put more padding, highlight settings, all of this kind of stuff. And that was a Kadence block, and it has all of these settings. Now I want to add a heading block that's just the plain WordPress one. So I'm going to scroll down here, and we're just going to add in heading. And here's my heading, Noto, serif, display. We'll do the same thing here. As I hover over, of course, there's like this little toolbar that has some different options for, I can duplicate this to make it again. I can remove it to get rid of that. But the main reason that I want to show you this is because you'll see when I click into this one over here in my block settings, I don't have multiple tabs. I don't have that many options. Versus when I click into this Kadence block, look, I have 3 tabs worth of options that I can do to this text. But when I'm here, I basically just have 4 sizes. I have a text color and a background color, so I can do that. So we're getting somewhere. I can change the size of it. We'll make it bold. We'll make it all lowercase. But here, if I click on these, font size, appearance, letter case, line height, letter spacing, decoration, I can't actually change the font here. So that's good to know. I can adjust some padding here. Okay. And then there's the advanced tab where I could add a custom class. or make this an anchor. But that's the difference between kind of the built-in blocks and Kadence blocks. Kadence blocks have a lot more features. And these blocks that we're building with in our widget area are the same blocks that we use to build a page. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this block and remove this block. And now it's how it was before. So that's our sidebar 1 widget area. We have our footer widgets here. So this was footer 1. This is widget 1. It has this form in it. And you may remember we were editing our footer and playing around with different widgets down here. Here we are in our back end. When I add widget 1, that form appears, okay? So footer 2, that's my logo, which is already right there. Widget 2, you can see the correlation, okay? Footer 3 has social icons in it. We're not using widget 3, but we could add widget 3 right here, and then I get those social icons, but I'm already using the social widget, which is kind of a special one. It's a widget that's available to you, but it's not one that you go and access through these widgets. It's just something that Kadence has for us. And widgets are something that you can make show up at various parts of your website. So like on the blog page, we chose to have a sidebar in our page settings, and we chose the widget area that we wanted to go right here. If I wanted to, I could have chosen sidebar 2, and then I could set that up completely differently. So we'll look at that when we go and edit our actual pages as well. Okay, so we have just been talking about widget areas and how to use blocks and edit and customize those. Now we are going to talk about pages. So over here on the sidebar, we will go to pages, and these are all the pages that we currently have live and active on our website. So we will click into our home page, and that's our front page right here. And we're going to start talking about how to edit this content. Okay, so I like to click on these little 3 horizontal lines right here so that I can kind of get an overview of how the page is set up in sections or rows. So like this section up here is a row layout, and if I click the little arrow to kind of expand this, I have 3 sections in here, which are 3 columns. So I have 1 column, 2 column, 3 column. These little things, when you're hovering over them, they'll appear, and I could change the size of my columns. So if I wanted, these images to be much smaller, I can make them 35% width instead of 45%. One thing is that everything's going to crunch down a little bit when I have like my list view open over here, and I also have my block editor stuff open over here. So it may not look exactly in the back end the way that it looks on the front end, but the way to get around that is every time you make a little change, maybe we want to shrink this down really quick, and then let's see how it would really look. So we're going to click on preview in a new tab, and then you can see how this section got much, much wider, and now these images are much smaller. So that's how you could preview a change without actually having to save the content and override the settings. And I'm going to drag these back to 45 and 45, which is what they were. Okay, so if I start expanding these sections, you'll see the different widgets, or blocks, that I have in here. So this is a social icons, just default WordPress block, and we saw this before, but when we were editing our widget area with our blog sidebar. But I could add in, if I click on this widget, here we go, and I click the little plus icon right here, I can add another icon, and then I need to click on that icon and add in my link or URL in order to make that appear on the front end. And then to get rid of this, I can click on these little 3 dots, and I can go down to remove Amazon, okay? If I wanted to add something else in this block, I can click on the section here to kind of select the whole column, and then this little thing is not actually adding social icons anymore. This is just going to let me add a new block. So I can either search for a block, I can click some of my recently used ones, or I could browse. So this would be the whole list right here. And let's just say I want to add a, we'll add an image. Where's our advanced image? It's right here. We'll add an image right here, and we'll select the image and we'll put our little Favicon logo. Okay, so now I added that image onto the page, and again I can press preview, preview a new tab, and that's going to update this, and that's what it would look like on the front end. And then again, to get rid of that, I can just click on it, or if you're having trouble selecting the thing that you want to select, just remember to click on these document overview, the 3 horizontal lines, and I can go in here and click on that and then press delete or remove. In this section, the middle section, we have an advanced text set to H6. Again, I have all of these things over here just like we saw in our widget areas. So let's say that by default in my global settings, I have the H6 set to be this light pink color, but maybe just right here only, I want to change the color of it. In the style tab, I can go and set it to blue. And then that's going to affect only this H6, not the H6s anywhere else. So this one's blue, but as I scroll down, this one and this one are still pink. So when we're building with Kadence, we kind of want to keep everything either in row layouts and sections as much as possible. So we have another section here, and as we expand it, we see that we have, looks like a little additional section that shouldn't be there. I'm going to remove that. We have a row layout, and then it also has 3 columns. So this one has an image, this one has an image, and this one has a heading and divider and some text and a button. So when I click on the advanced image, I'm editing this column right here. I can replace this image with one from my media library or upload my own. Same with this image. Over here in the block settings, I can adjust the sizes. So I have this set to use a fixed ratio instead of the actual image ratio, the default, like whatever that image is, the size-wise. So maybe I want it to be square. I can do that. I can set the max image width to be much larger if I wanted to. And again, this doesn't look good. It looks really crazy in the back end, and probably it's not going to look good in the front end either. But you can always preview to see what your changes look like before you change them. And this is restricting it to the width of that column. So that's how it would look. So just remember that sometimes things as they appear in the back end are not the way they appear on the front end, and make sure that you use preview in a new tab to see what you're actually doing. I'm going to press undo here and set that back to the way I had it. Let's talk about the advanced button for a second. So when I add an advanced button, I can click here on this plus, and these are all of my blocks that I have, and here's my advanced button that's already there. When I add one in over here in block settings, you can have it be fill, outline, or if I want it to be those global button settings that I set up already, I just click on theme and it's going to inherit those styles. Okay, so my button text, this is my button text. That's my link there. We can click over here and we can align it to the left. We can make it the vertical alignment change as well. We're not going to do that in this instance. Here's where I can click to actually put whatever link I want this to be, or maybe I want it to be a page on my website. You can see those pages coming up. So let's link it to a post that is what's in my bag. And I can also edit this button. So I can make it large, I can make it small, I can make it full width, and this is just overriding this particular button. If I go to style, I can change the color to be blue, can change the background color to be dark blue, and yet again, it's only affecting this one button. Let's say I wanted to add a whole new section in between these 2 sections right here. I'm going to go back here so we can kind of see what we're doing. Here we go. I'm going to click on this section because I want to add it in between. There's the little black plus sign here. We can click on that to add a block, or we can click up here. Okay, and I would add a row layout here, and then you can go ahead and choose the columns that you want, and the columns are going to become sections. So maybe we just want to add, I don't know, 5 equal columns right here. And then we can click into each one of these columns and we can start adding different blocks. Add a Google map. And obviously this doesn't look good, but I just want you to get an idea of how you can start editing things. And every single thing that you add, every single thing that you add within a block, remember, if you can't click on it, because like I just did and then it opened the actual map in a new tab, just go over here and we are in the third column with the Google map. There it is. And when I click on this Google map, I have all of these settings here. So I can change the location from the Golden Gate Bridge, and let's make it Times Square. And there we go. Now it updated to Times Square. We can zoom in way further. We can make it a satellite map instead. We can filter it. So maybe we want it to be a black and white map. Maybe we don't want it to be all the way black and white, but just partially. So we can change all of these things. We can change the height of it. We can change the max width. You can also add some padding here. So when you add the padding, you can either use these default options that Kadence has and just drag it till you see what you like. Or if you want to actually put in your custom pixels, because you know exactly how many pixels you want it to be, you click on that little icon and I can make it 50 pixels at the top and 20 pixels on the bottom. And let's make it 9 pixels on the right. And we'll do 30 pixels on the left. Okay, so that's how you will start to edit these things and add your own layouts and blocks and start having fun. And then of course, when I'm done with my page, I can preview our changes on the front end and see how beautiful they look. Wow, just gorgeous. We do want to click on update in order to save our changes. So now we've talked about how to start editing our pages with Kadence blocks or WordPress blocks. Now let's talk about how to edit our posts. So the difference between a page and a post, I'm going to update this. We're still in the preview. So the difference between a page and a post, the home page is here. We have our about page here. We have our blog page here. The blog page is where our posts live. So this is a post. What's in my makeup bag? All right, and you can see this is how an individual post looks. We have a featured image. We have our categories right here. We have our title. We have the author and the date that it was published. And then we just have some copy, our text for the post, and then we put in this little shop the post widget. It's not really a widget, it's built with blocks, and I'm going to show you how that works specifically, because that is something kind of unique about this theme, is you can use it with affiliate links if you want to. So let's go to the back end. To get out of this home page, I'm just going to click on my little icon in the corner. Yours might just be a W, or it might be your favicon for your site. And we're going to go to posts. And right now we're in the what's in my makeup bag post, so I'm just going to find that one and we are going to click into it. And this is going to look really familiar because the whole thing is you edit your posts the exact same way that you edit your pages, like in terms of adding different blocks. So I can click into here. If I press enter, it's going to kind of like, either by default it's going to make a new paragraph block, or I can click on the little plus and I can add an advanced button here and I can make it my theme styles again. Okay, so we can also add like sections into our pages. I just click here if I want to change my title. If I press enter and then press on the little plus sign, I can have a row layout, and maybe I want to do like 3 columns right here, and I want to put something heading, and maybe I want to put a button in here. Hello, and then maybe we're going to put in an icon. Oh, let's put an icon list. Put an icon list. Check, check, check. Okay, so this is how I can start creating my posts. I can make them really spectacular. They don't have to just be straight text and images. But just keep in mind that your post is going to be sort of limited to these dimensions. However, there is a place in the customizer, and I'm going to just through the front end at this little bar, when I'm logged in up here, I'm going to open this customize tab in a new link. This is just appearance customize. That's just a shortcut for how to get there. But I could go to my posts and pages layout, and say I didn't want this to be limited to these dimensions, like this maxed width, or have it be skinny like this, I can go, this is a single post, not a page. So I'm going to go into single post, and instead of it being here, we have it on this narrow setting, we can make it stretch all the way across, okay? So there are changes you can make in Appearance Customize, or maybe I don't want it to be all the way touching the edges, but I still want it to be wider. You can do that. You can disable some of the padding, do that at your own risk. We can stretch the featured, maybe I want it to be skinny, but I want the featured image to go all the way across. So right here where it said featured image width, I'm going to stretch it to full size. And now it's stretching all the way across, but my post is still skinny. Okay, so there's just all these settings. I can turn off the title if I didn't want the title to show. I could turn off the categories if I don't want those to show. Okay, so these settings are just whatever you want to do to customize. Maybe I want to make our title aligned center. There's all sorts of cool things that you can do here. You can choose this post layout instead, so the title appears at the top. And if you go to the design tab, you can also change like the font, the colors, all of that kind of stuff for your actual post, okay? But when you're in here and you're just editing a post, you're not doing these changes, okay? These things are done in the customizer if I want to make those kind of changes, but just editing the content of a post is done this way. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the row layout, but let's go over the most important thing here, which again was like that little shop the posts thing. So you can see that this is a section, okay? If I expand it, I have an advanced text right here, advanced text right here, and I have a spacer divider, and then I have an advanced gallery. This is kind of a hack for people who maybe have some affiliate links, or you want to post some Amazon affiliate links, I don't know. And the nice thing about this is that we can adjust like the height, so we could make it bigger or smaller. We can adjust the space in between each of these. So right now it's 16 pixels, but we can make them wider, or if I didn't want to have any, we can just have it be like that. And I can also change that depending on the screen size if I wanted to, okay? Just remember that you have those responsive options in your block settings always. Oops. Click back on Advanced Gallery so we open these settings. Here's my carousel settings, okay? Right now our arrows are black on light. We could make them white on dark if you want to do that. You can make them outline, and you can get rid of those altogether if you wanted to. And you can just click and kind of swipe, or swipe with your finger if you're on a mobile device. Let's put them back to black on light. If you wanted to, you can put the little dots. So that looks like this, and that shows me how many things how many images are actually in this slider. Or you can turn them off, as I've done. All right, under link settings, this is kind of important. I have it linked to custom, okay? And this is important for affiliate links. So this is going to allow you to actually link to your personal link where you make an affiliate income for each one of these items, okay? So let's just say I have a specific link for these gold hoops. I just need to click on this, and you can see right here is where I would put my URL. So I just grab my link, whatever it would be for that, and I can set it right there, and I can open it in a new tab. I can even put sponsored right there. And then when somebody goes and clicks on the gold hoops in my thing, it's going to my link now, okay? So this is a really cool way that Kadence works with you kind of as an affiliate marketer or influencer, that you can set up your own links without any special kind of widgets in here. The way that you would change the actual captions on this, so when I'm hovering over, we have captions. I'm just gonna click on Advanced Gallery, and I'm gonna go to Edit, and then here are all the photos that are in my gallery, and I can change the caption. So it can be exactly what the item is if you so choose to do that. If I want to obviously get rid of something, I can just exit out of it. If I want to add to my gallery, I can either choose something from my media library, so I'll choose that again, or if I have my own image, I'll just upload my images here. So this is a really cool way that you can sort of fake a, like little shopping widget on your website. So that's how we can shop the post. We can always update our post when we're done with this, and then we can go back to the back end of our website. Let me show you where that blog sidebar is set up. So if you go back to Pages and you go to our blog page, so you can't actually edit this because it just shows your latest post that you've posted. But you can go over here, and if you hover over this icon and its page settings, you can see that we have by default our page layout, we have right sidebar, and I have chosen sidebar 1. So just remember, sidebar 1 was what we were editing in our widgets, and I could choose sidebar 2 if I wanted to instead, and I'll set it to that and update this page just so you see it change on the front end. Go to our blog, and so now my custom sidebar 1 is gone, and it's just showing me archives and categories for my blog. And you can also do that for any page. So it's not just the blog page, but I can go to any page and click on this icon page settings here, and I can change the way that the header looks, the title looks. I can add a sidebar to my page. I can make it, narrow content, full width content, so on and so forth. Okay, so I want to quickly cover custom classes and where you can put additional CSS styling in your Kadence theme. So on the home page, as you scroll down, you'll notice in this section where we have the Get My Photo presets for Lightroom, we have this image of an iPhone, and it is slightly rotated. So I'm going to show you how I used a custom class and some custom code in order to rotate this image. So just in the back end of my WordPress website, I'm in Pages, and I'm going to go to Home. And then I'm going to scroll down to this section that I'm talking about. And first I'm just going to click on this image. So with this image selected, I'm going to go over here in Block Settings to the Advanced tab, and I'm going to toggle Advanced here, and you'll see down here at the bottom, Additional CSS Classes, I have Rotate-Image. This is just something I made up. Okay, so where is the actual CSS code for this? I'm going to click on the 3 horizontal lines so we can kind of get that list view so it's easy to select. But I'm going to select the section that this rotated image is in. So here's my image, here's my section. When I go to the Advanced tab, this time, there's some extra things, but there's this Custom CSS tab right here. And you'll see I have my .rotate-image class, and then I've written rotate 9 degrees. So if I wanted to up this to like 59 degrees, you can see what happens there. So that's where this actual style is. This is only going to affect this image on this page. If I wanted this rotate image class, I'm just going to copy this really quickly out of here. If I wanted to be able to use this across my website, I would want to put it somewhere else, not just on this section. So I'm going to go into my back end, and I'm going to go to Appearance and Customize. And you may, if you've worked with WordPress before, you're probably familiar with this. There's the Additional CSS tab, and we do have something in here already, but I'm just going to go down a line, and I'm going to paste in that code that I just copied from my homepage. And now, if I publish this and I want to go back to, let's leave here and let's go back to, we'll go to the landing page. Okay, and let's just say I wouldn't really want to do this, but for pretend, I want to rotate this image right here. So now I can go to the Advanced tab, and I can add rotate-img. And you'll see that my image is rotated on the front end. So that's how you can apply some custom classes and styles. And one more custom class that I want to bring your attention to is actually on the About page. So let me exit out of some of these things and then I'll meet you there. Okay, so I am on the About page and I'm going to scroll down and we're dealing with this fun little let's play this or that section on the About page. And you'll notice these little hand-drawn circles. And this is actually an image that has been put in the background on this text with a custom class. So I'm going to show you also where the styles for all of this are. So in the back end of my website, I'm going to go into the About page. And I will scroll down to this section. And let's go ahead and open up the little list view of our page. And I want to make sure I'm just selecting one of these text items. So we're on chocolate right here. And if I go to the Advanced tab, you'll see that I have Circle Choice, Circle Dash Choice. That's my custom CSS class. Now, when I go to the actual section and I go to the Advanced tab and I go to Custom CSS right here, you'll see I have dot circle dash choice and I have this background image, which is actually the little hand-drawn circle, and it's in the media library. And then I've set some different styles for that so that it resizes at certain screens. You don't have to touch this, but if you want to select, like right here, let's just assume you were going to actually keep this feature and you wanted to have chocolate and vanilla, but you're a vanilla kind of girl. So you just want to select the vanilla and go to the Advanced tab and you're going to put circle, if I could spell it, dash choice, and then you see that the circle appears right there. Okay, so we've pretty much covered all of the bases, and we may not have gone as in depth as you would like to go. So if you want to learn more about how to work with Kadence, I feel that it's fairly intuitive once you kind of get the general idea of, you know, building with blocks, how I can add the block, how I can change the block settings in the right-hand sidebar. But I would encourage you to go to cadencewp.com and you can look at Kadence blocks and see the ones that they have. And most of these are the free ones that you can build with. And then they have a place where you can look at the premium blocks as well under Pro here. But if I click on like tabs, this is a building block that you could add to your site. And it'll show you examples of how everything works and how it looks and how you can customize each thing. And this is a really handy tool if you want to really geek out and super customize your website. You'll have all of these features in the back end. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. Happy customizing of your theme. As always, feel free to reach out to me on social media or on Etsy if you have any questions about customizing your theme, and I cannot wait to see what you create.